Republic Pictures had a great love for the myth of the American West and its history. The Last Command is an epic story the studio had been wanting to tell for years. It became the most expensive film Republic would ever produce at a cost of over $2 million. In grand Hollywood style, Republic took on the costly Battle of the Alamo with a second unit team that made us feel the blows. The battles were always...
You told me something very interesting about the Last Command and second unit. I think the audience might possibly be interested in that.
There's a case, like Tommy said, my name isn't on the picture. But all the action in the Last Command, the Battle of the Alamo, the Battle at the River, which I was very proud of, I choreographed and shot. And my name isn't on the picture. For the same reason that Tommy said, I don't want a second unit. There were a lot of other second units that I shot, and my name isn't on the picture. I go out the action material. I've shot for Alan Dwan a couple of times. Action stuff, big action stuff, no name on the picture. And it's just the way Hollywood goes. Once you get, it's just like, I better not say that, the audience got mad at me last time.
Go ahead and say it.
It's like being a serial director. You get tight and it ruins your career. I'm not kidding you. In Hollywood, the serials were the lowest of the low. And yet, Zanuck used to get every serial that we had and run them. Some of the other studios run them. We knew what they were doing, but we stayed at Republic, all of us, not because we couldn't have moved on. I was just getting ready to move on when the war came. I'd had it with serials, and then I was put on hold, and after the war I was so damn shaky I went back to Republic because I wasn't sure what in the world was going to happen. But I've known these two gentlemen here. They've been good friends of mine. We came into the picture business about the same time. We've been drinking buddies together. We cried on each other's shoulder. We've seen death in our families together, and we're still good friends. There's never been any jealousy. As a matter of fact, the Republic, like Georgie Sherman said once, anybody that quits the Army and joins the Republic and quits the Army, joins the Army and quits Republic's a coward.
Take your men across the river. Rest of you come on back here with me. praying, Parson. All right. Put in a good word for me, Parson.
love horses to start with. I love animals. I raise dogs. I've got a little book out called Trigger Remembered that'll make you cry. It's all true. I love that old horse, just more probably than Roy said once on an audience. He said, well, there's only one person that loved Trigger as much as I loved him, and that's Billy. Dale and I in the morning used to watch him when Glenn Randall took him out, the trainer took him out of the docks, and they put a set of hubbles around him. And he was a stallion, but very quiet. And he'd watch Glenn walk away, and then he'd test to see whether he just laid them around or actually buckled them. And if they weren't tied on, he would inch his way to the other horses. Never make a sound, a whinny, nothing. And I always used, Dale and I, of having a cup of coffee, Dale Evans, we'd watch him and laugh. He made our day, literally. He had a personality, and I remember once I wanted Joe to come out, run over the backs of about 8 horses and jump to Trigger. And old Trigger, when things got quiet, he'd start to look around. You know, he'd say, now what are these guys dreaming up? So I said, everybody keep talking and keep doing, and we were banging on the tin and pounding on a brass, and he was sound asleep, and I rolled the camera, and we put a big Barney, so because he could hear the camera run. You can't, but he could. Put a big Barney over the camera, and I go like this to Joe. Joe comes out, runs over these 8 horses, leaps to Trigger. There'll never be another mount like that. And Trigger woke up like this, and Joe took off with him, and the old horse came back, and we put him in the same thing, and he sulked, put his head down on the ground and sulked. He'd been tricked. But he was something else. I still think about him. There's been a lot of pictures go by in my career, too. It's embarrassing when you look at them. I think, my God, I can't tell people I did that many pictures. It was a thrill. That first run in the morning, and we used to have a team, a 6-up team, that belonged to Hudkins. They were all thoroughbreds, and old Dempsey and Tunney were the leaders. And I'll tell you, that first run in the morning was a thrill. You didn't know whether you were going to get them stopped, whether they were going to overrun you on the camera car.
I'd like to see, how do you say, Canutt? Is that how?
Yakima Canutt, yeah.
I'd like to have really seen him do one of those things in person.
Somebody asked me.
Dramatic on film.
Yeah.
Imagine what it was like.
Indeed, to see what it would be like.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me once, he says, is Canutt part Indian? I said,
yeah.
I said, who said that? He says, well, he told everybody he's part Indian. I said, he's a goddamn hard-headed Dutchman. Don't tell me what he is.
I want to say something about him he won't say himself. The reason he shot so fast and he would get 100 setups a day is the man was prepared and he knew what he was doing. He was way ahead of everything. He knew how to make it, and he wouldn't pick a spot that would be horrible for a crew to get to, and he got those things done. But the other thing that I heard about him is that he was sensitive in the dialogue and things. He had a sensitivity, and he'd get this quietness or this little special something out of the actors. But he never say that about himself. But you know, it's there, and I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you. I think you're one hell of a stuntman, too.